There we go. We are live. Hoping that I can be heard here. There we go. All right. Awesome. Well, there we go. Now I can see chat. I got slow mode on. It's time to open up some new games. It's been a while since I've done a classic, so we're going to take a look at Clue, and I got a special treat for you a little bit later. So first off, this is the 2023 edition, so this is the most recent current edition, and there have been some changes to the game, I understand, so this ought to be pretty fun. Let's have a look. The tag was already a little bit loose here, so I kind of want to see if I can get that. There we go, without damaging the box. Hasbro has started packaging a lot of these games with plastic-free packaging, which has actually been pretty nice. I did Scrabble not long ago, and everything was wrapped together with, what was it, tissue paper, I think. I don't even think they had any cellulose in there. So this one's a little more stuck on. We'll see if I can clean that up later. Oh, did I miss something? Oh, there's some on the sides. There's some on the, I gotta pay attention if I'm gonna find all the clues. Jeez. I got so stuck on those other ones there. Stuck on them. Stickers. That's my little joke. All right, and here we go. We got wax paper holding together our clue cards. Hey, hey. All right, these are not so bad. Pretty snappy. A little bit floppier than I'd like. Nice clear print. Little bit small, but not too bad. So, and there's extra cards. I haven't seen this before. So like Scarlett said what, and Mayor's endorsement. So it looks like we've got some other stuff balancing out the gameplay here. So, I got a copy of Clue back in 2007, 2008, where they also kind of changed some stuff up like that too. So I'm sure there's an extra rule set. I do really like how the inside of the box is printed like that. Isn't that cool? Isn't that great? Now this is, his name is Mr. Boddy Black. So he's no longer just Mr. Boddy. Mr. Boddy Black. Okay, so sounds a bit more black tie, a little fancy. Well, hi there, Chris. Got a few people showing up here. Not to ignore anybody. Hi, Christine. Hi, James. Hi, Chris. All right, so I've had 3 chats so far. 3! 3 shall be the number. All right, and we have, there's our little Clue portfolio and our rule book. Full color print, full bleed, saddle stitch. Looks like about 8 pages. Very nice. Very nice. Ooh, there's pictures of the murder weapons, and I think we're going to see a little bit of a change up from the classic weapons that we're used to here. Almost. Let's get the board out. Not too bad. It's a quarter fold board. I'd really, really, really like to have boards that fold in half. And our, oh man, look at yeah, okay, so the modern Clue comes with enough of these. There we go. Now, I remember, I believe the first Clue set I had was the 1986 edition, and I wish I still had it. Hasbro does reprint it with the classic characters, but that one came with multiple smaller pads. This is just one big pad, but I'm okay with that. It's very clearly written. It's not nearly as stylized as some of the older Clue game pads that I've played with in the past. So, okay, well, maybe I was a bit premature putting this away. Let's see if we can. There. That is, I can't get over that. That is so, I love these inserts when they're printed like this. That just adds so much to the game here. All right, there we go. Nice product placement there. All right, and we have the art on the board is really quite attractive. Now, I want to point out, I just watched the 1985 movie the other day, and in preparation for this, you know, you got to do your research. It's fine film, fantastic film. But I did notice, I thought this was hilarious, was this tile. Now, this is gray, but if you look at the floor in the movie, whenever they're in the main hall, the floor has this exact tile pattern just out of wood. So nice touch there. I loved it because I saw it and I just went, wow, that reminds me of the game spaces. I'm sure it was intentional. A lot of details in that movie were really neat little nods to the game. Okay, so we've got our pad, we've got our envelope. It's French, so it might be envelope. I don't know. Somebody want to correct me if you're from Canada. Love these cards, except for I don't know what these on the bottom do, but the character cards are really nice. Mr. Green, Mayor Green. He's not Mr. Green, he's Mayor Green. Ooh, mayoral candidate in the mix. This sort of scandal could ruin his reputation for good. All right. We all know. We all know what's in store. Oh, I wish they were organized. They got shook around pretty good. But there's a miniature space saver in here. These are very, very nicely detailed figs. These are not bad. They're not player pawns. They're actual figures, and they are modeled really. I could see painting these. I saw a set online where they were painted, but it was a different group of people. They looked a little bit more exaggerated. But no, I'm all right with this. I'm all right with that. I like that. I had that 2008 edition that I had, just had little player pieces that were like a colored base with a clear question mark type standee on it. I wasn't too fond of it. Ooh, damn weapons though. I'm gonna make sure these are on the black portion of the table so you can really. They're gold. They're gold. We got the pipe wrench. So yeah, we have a nice organizer here. That's kind of, you can put all the guys in there. You got your weapons. You got your dice here. Nice 6-head. Oh, the die. The one on the die. If I can take a closer look. Yes. I knew I had this on here for a reason. Okay, so the one on the clue. So we have unique dice for the modern clue. I love it. So the one is a magnifying glass. Then we have the candlestick. We've got the rope. Now this looks different. A lot of the older editions that I've played with had a plastic piece for the rope, and that was really the only piece. The dagger or the knife, very much more ornamental. I've seen it as a kitchen knife before. The pipe wrench looks classic, albeit gold now. This is a fancier lead pipe. This has a little elbow on the side there. I like that. The pipe before used to be just kind of like a bent pipe, really boring. And okay, so interestingly enough, I had to do a little research on this. So in '86, it was a pepper box revolver. When the game was originally introduced in 1949, in the U.S., there was a Colt 1911 semi-automatic, and then it was like a high power in England. It was a slightly different model, very similar to the 1911, but in fact a different gun. I remember the revolver, and it felt very old-timey, especially be it that it was a pepper box. So I just always thought it was that way, but only recently learned that they used in 1911. John Moses Browning would have been proud. But now this one is a nod to Sam Colt, because we have a Colt Navy. This is a single-action black powder pistol. They actually do have the little ramrod device on it and everything. I'm impressed by the detail. I love that they're gold. That's cool. That's cool. Feels very rich. Feels very rich. Yes. So this isn't, I mean, I know it might look like I'm putting this away prematurely, but I actually have a little surprise here, because this is not the only edition of Clue. But I got to say, I'm really excited about this one. This is neat. The art on the board is really cool. The only thing is, I wish the figurines had stayed in their organizer a little bit better, though I do like that they have it, because that lets me know if I did decide to detail wash those at all, they would look pretty good. I wonder if does the folder fit? Kind of, maybe a little bit. I don't know. You don't know till you try. Nah, it's a little too big. Okay. I am going to advise getting a little zip seal going without the name, Sam's name brand zip seal bag of some sort. Until I get an endorsement, I don't drop names on that. I was advising too many zip seal bags. Come on, endorse it. I dare you. Who owns Ziploc? Anyway, I'd be curious. Procter & Gamble? You want to take a gamble on me, Procter & Gamble? All right, how can I set this up so that the cards don't go everywhere, everything everywhere all at once? Here we go. Okay, here we go. All right, that's where that quarter fold board shines. You can sell somebody a long box that's not square and still give them a board that would fit nicely in a Kallax. So there we go. I'm down with it. I like it. The improvements look really good. Now I'm going to have to play test with the new rules to see what goes into effect, how it affects the game. And now I got to go back and look at the 08 edition that I had, because the 2008 edition that I had a separate set of rules as well, and I never played them. I don't know if you've watched my Scrabble video, but I have a tendency when it's like a real classic established game, I don't know why, I don't often play with expanded rules when they offer them. So we do have a surprise on deck here. I'm not just opening that clue and then putting it, let's make sure it's on screen a little bit more. There we go. I do have something special here. So a good friend of mine was playing some games at a local game shop, and so we'll give them some product placement here. Game Center. This is in Roseville, Minnesota. And he found me some interesting editions of Clue. So this is the classic edition. This is it's all falling over. This is a reproduction of the 1949 edition. So interestingly enough, this was licensed, the game was invented in 1943, but it didn't actually get published, mainly due to supply shortages during World War II, until about 1949. And then it went through a lot of changes. It was originally published by Waddington's in the UK and called Cluedo. But at the time, if I remember right, they had kind of bounced around some other names. I think it was Murder at first, and then they went with Cluedo because it sounded a lot like the popular game Ludo. Whereas in the US, Ludo wasn't as popular, and so when it licensed to Parker Brothers, actually around the same time, it was sold as Clue. So I will have to do some research to find out if this more closely resembles the edition that was released by Waddington's in the UK, or if this is closer to the Parker Brothers edition in the US. So that'll be kind of fun. But we have a 1949 reproduction. I need to make space, so I guess it's time for the reveal of the real fun. Oh, you can see her face. So this is the Golden Girls edition of Clue. I am nothing if not a nostalgia-fueled YouTube channel. And so I have also been watching some Golden Girls in preparation for this play test. I will probably be watching the show the whole time that I play this. Thankfully, none of our lovely ladies are murderers. The premise of this one, I'm sorry. The premise of this one, I'm just going to read this. I love it. This is a disaster. It's impossible to stay golden when there's no cheesecake. You had the whipped cream and the chocolate sauce ready to go, only to discover that the last of the cheesecake has already been eaten. Now, ugly men and women might cry in your shoes, but you are determined to get to the bottom of things. After you storm around the home and accuse everyone in sight, everyone gathers in the living room, determined to prove their innocence and thrilled at the prospect of figuring out who ate the last piece of cheesecake. What item did they accidentally leave as evidence, and where did they do it? Was it Stan, perhaps, wolfing down the cheesecake in Dorothy's room and forgetfully leaving behind his bathrobe? Or was it Blanche overcome in the lanai? Is it lanai? I don't know. I don't have a whole lot. Lanai. I'm gonna get so roasted for this. I come from Minnesota. Beach and patio furniture is rare. Anyway, Blanche overcoming the lanai as indicated by her feather slippers that she let slip off of her dainty feet. It's up to you to scour the home for clues and find out what really happened. Oh, and so our characters, we've got, of course, Dorothy, Blanche, Rose, and Sophia, but we also have Miles, and we also have Stan. So we do have the complete 6 players here. I love the art on this. I love the art. Okay, before we dive in too far, I'm getting too excited about this Golden Girls edition here. Let's start with the 1949. just set that aside there. We'll just save the cheesecake for dessert. All right. Oh, here's the fun part. We get to get into the shrink wrap. The edition, a $230 edition of Clue. Now I've heard of it. I'll have to have a look. I bet you there's, if I recall correctly, there's a version of Clue that's like Ultimate Clue or something like that. It's an expanded Clue that has more characters and more rooms. You see, the original, interestingly enough, Clue has always been sold as like a 6-player game, but the original concept was designed to support up to 10, and there are alternate rule sets, for instance, for the 10-player version of Clue, where in fact one of the players is chosen at random to be the victim. But the interesting thing is, too, I remember reading somewhere that you'd have 10 characters, one would be the victim, but only 8 of the remaining 9 would be playable on that map. So also kind of interesting. I wonder how they balance that out. But here we go. This will clearly fit in a Kallax. Now, mirroring modern games, this one is very square in shape. I find, I'm going to point this out. This is something I'm seeing a lot in modern games. So in modern gaming, a lot of people who like heavy Euro-style games will tend to go for square boxes. You'll even see some behind me, like I've got Plunder and Talisman Batman. Yeah, that one's coming up. And they all have square boxes. There are even companies that advertise the dimensions of their box. This size of box and type is so popular that it's known to be stored frequently in the IKEA furniture piece called a Kallax, which has those kind of cubic shelves. So there are some publishers that will even list if the box will fit in a Kallax or not. And the quarter fold game boards that we're seeing, coupled with these box dimensions, we're starting to see a lot of these square boxes, which, you know, shelf space is always at a premium. I'm not against it. I prefer not to have quarter fold. But be it that that's kind of the tradition that we're seeing, it surprises me that we are still seeing games packaged like this in a long box with a lot of extra empty space, because this board is still a quarter fold, and feasibly all of the components would still fit in a square box like this. I feel like this is a touch misleading into making you think that you have a board that folds in half, which I do still think is a selling point to a lot of players out there. I don't like having the exposed cardboard on my game board, so I like it when every edge on them is taped. But I digress. It's just kind of an interesting observation about game boxes. In fact, honestly, I'm tempted to do a show talking about the evolution of game boxes, because it's really quite a fascinating subject when you look at the nuts and bolts. But this 49 Clue, this was a reproduction. This one was published in 2024. This is by Winning Moves. So this is the division of Hasbro that produces a lot of retro games. And let's see here. Yeah, the hyper expensive edition, as I call it. Yep. Yeah. Gold furniture. Yes, I'm willing to bet that that's the expanded Clue there, Jester. Now, I've done some Winning Moves games in the past here on my show, and they've all been really top-notch and actually incredibly true to the source material. So I have full confidence that if we're looking at this, it's going to be really similar to one of the 49 editions of Clue. It just depends on if we're looking at Cluedo or actual Clue. And of course, we've got the actual names here. So it's, or the original names: Colonel Mustard, Miss Scarlet, Professor Plum, Mr. Green. He wasn't a mayor at the time. Mrs. White and Mrs. Peacock. Yes. There we go. This is a nice sealed paper. This looks like an 11 by 17, black and white print, quarter fold. You know, the rules to Clue are generally pretty simple, so they don't require a huge rule book. So that's all right. I don't see any reason why that won't stand the test of time. Let's have a look at the board. Ooh, let's have a look at the. Oh, another. Okay. Yeah, I like the bright colors. Again, you see how this is all flopping around? This is why I don't like this quarter fold boards. I really like a nice, decent half folding board. But look at that. That's nice. Now, I am noticing, and I'm curious to know, because I'm going to go ahead and call. They might say that this is the 1949, but I can tell you lithography was not at a stage where they were doing things like what. This is more of, how do I put this? There are some very modern stylings that I'm seeing on this board that tell me that this is not going to be as close to a lithograph printed board that would have been common around 1949. We have some dimensional shading and some font issues. I can see some art was definitely copy pasted. I'm seeing some clone stuff here. So, I mean, it's attractive. It looks really good, but I'm seeing a lot of modern art techniques. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the art file, I mean, this is recreated. Obviously, they didn't have a digital file for the original Clue. And I'm sure by today's standards, trying to find a reference to copy off of, you're not going to get a one-to-one. You could take a picture of it and it's still not going to look great. So I'll give you this. Otherwise, looks pretty good. You have the original rooms. I guess my thing is that this is the first time I've had one out of Winning Moves that didn't look quite like the original that it was supposed to, or at least there's absolutely no way that this is a one-to-one, not even close. But it has the original rooms. I will be curious to see. I'm going to have to see if I can find some pictures of the old board, because the names of the rooms all face the respective edge of the board that they are on. So orientation-wise, it's easy for people to read that. We have the triumphant return of player pawns. These are actually kind of nice. I'm going to go ahead and, these look kind of like a bowling pin with like a fat base put on them. These still don't look similar to the pawns that I had in '86. The pawns that I had in the '86 edition were a little bit more traditionally shaped. These look like they're kind of meant to ape what it might look like to get pre-lathed pawns out of wood. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm reasonably certain that these are meant to look kind of like a wood pawn. They do look nice. And I would say that having pawns as opposed to like minifigures is more accurate to the older Clue that I recall. Only one die. So interestingly enough, modern Clue had two dice. This has one die, albeit it's red, and it has rounded corners, and it has pips. It's pips on all sides. I like rounded corners on my dice. Look at that. You see that? Yeah. I'm gonna. Yep. Yeah. You hear that? That's the sound of happiness. I love it. Okay, so I'm okay with the okay with the die. We have our confidential case file. Now this is a paper envelope, just like the classic I remember. I always remember it being a little manila envelope. However, I'm calling it right now. This is a much thinner paper. This is a much thinner paper. This is probably like a 24 or 34. 20 does not have a little indent here for you to reach and pull the flap out cleanly. So I'm going to go ahead and say fold it over. Don't tuck it in. But I mean, you know, we're not George Costanza here. You're going to tuck. You don't tuck. If you, instead of doing the tuck, don't do the tuck. I don't like how tight it is around my player cards. Speaking of which, we got our player cards. Right away, I see Colonel Mustard, and that is the art. When we do this episode, when I have some B-reel for everybody, the art on this is going to be fantastic. All right. Like, I appreciate the design work that went into this reproduction, even if I don't think it's going to be a true one-to-one with the 49 edition, I would say that it's kind of scratching that itch for the 86 edition, but actually it looks even more polished, and I think that's kind of what throws me out of it a little bit, is the art is, I love bright, shiny, eye-catching art. It's very dimensional. I really like how it has these drop shadows here. Really looks like it has a nice use of light. So the art on the board is cool. It's just not what I expected. The cards, oh, that snap though. Oh, that snap. I've had card games that don't have as good a snap. These put the Mattel version of Uno's cards to shame. Shame, shame, shame. Shame. No, these are great. These are great. Oh, wow, I love the art. Very clear, very easy to read. You can flip. Oh, there's our. Now we're going to have to do our research and find out if this is a 1911 or what the other. I really wish I could remember the other brand of firearm that was used for the pistol in the Cluedo edition. I read it earlier and I just, in one ear, out the other, have a hard time remembering all those finer details there. Oh, you guys got the right idea, huh? Should we let's get through the unboxing. Maybe we'll play a live stream round, huh? Maybe we can play a round of this. I can see a way that we can do this. So the cards are good, nice and snappy. We got. Okay, well we have. All right, just spoiler alert. I had a little organizer in here for the stuff. Little organizer for the things and accoutrements. See, fancy word. There's a $5 one. Accoutrement. Okay. Oh man, didn't get a whole lot of these. This is disappointing considering the sheer brick that I got with the Hasbro one. Winning moves, man. Now, to be fair, they do have extra score sheets can be downloaded on this QR code. So scan your screen right now if you would like to download extra scorecards to the Winning Moves reproduction version of the 1949 Clue. All functional, all form follows function, nothing fancy, no stylized print or anything like that. Again, you know, the big failure that I'm seeing all around with almost every board game that I'm unboxing or that I'm opening up, every modern one. Yeah, this is Vanilla Mint Chapstick, another product placement there. Sorry, gotta have that frictionless smile. One thing I am noticing with a lot of these games when I'm opening them up is I get cards and I get no container to throw the cards in. Now there was, I want to say, I think it was Risk. I'm going to point out Risk. Now that was a badass modern game case. One, I loved the board art, and two, they gave us a foldable box. So no glue, no adhesive, no plastics used. Foldable carton for the cards. So Risk knew what was up. They made the score sheet on an entire 8.5 by 11. Oh, get yourself a bypass trimmer. That. So apparently somebody has already checked. Good job, 3D print wizard. Okay, so we got the board here. I'm just trying to make space because we have the weapons. We have the weapons here. Now, these have a nice weight and a nice shine. I'm going to go ahead and say these are a very nice kind of chromed. It's not perfect, but this is the original shape I remember the rope being in, but I remember it being plastic. So I will throw that out. There's the bent lead pipe, just as I remember. This candlestick is closer to what I remember, though I do remember there was a bit more fluting on it. The wrench, classic, always classic. This dagger is still just a little bit different than what I recall. It's very flat, very butter knifey. You know those YouTube videos where a guy like cooks something with really small tools on a tiny stove? This reminds me of that. Same energy. Same energy. Now, here we go. This is a Colt 1911. So it's a little bit out of proportion. It's enormous compared to the other weapons. This is the one that feels really out of place. It feels completely off scale compared to everything else. It's just a big gun. Just, it reminds me of that. This reminds me of that Alec Baldwin movie, The Shadow. Do you remember that one where they gave him a fake nose, like he needed a bigger one for that role for whatever reason, just to like fit behind his bandana better? Oh man. Chronicles of Crime. Okay, that's one I'll have to check out. Chronicles of Crime. Good suggestion there. All right, so let's toss this one in here. I gotta be careful about my use of the word toss. Sorry about that, guys in the UK. Gotta remember that. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We must place everything back just as we found it. We must have discipline. Okay, so 2023, 2024, we got this nice throwback from Winning Moves. Right away, my first impressions are go with the modern. This does not look to me like the board art justifies any of this as a throwback. So I have to do some research and see how close this actually is. Because honestly, this one really threw me off. I was expecting out of Winning Moves a little bit more of a rustic looking board, perhaps, something that looked like it was lithography print from the early 20th century. But, you know, it is what it is. Modern art cues aside, it all had the original rooms, and it had pleasant art for the characters on the board. Okay. Oh, geez. Chronicles of Crime has a QR code and app. Oh, boy. You know, that's the one thing, man. Like, Hero Quest, the modern Avalon Hill Hero Quest also has an app, and I get a little bit concerned about apps with my games. I know the technology is evolving and everything. I just feel like these are sort of a good way to unplug. It's why I don't play on Board Game Arena. I don't really have much time for video games as it is, but I really feel like it's important that we see each other face to face from time to time, you know? Even if my version of seeing you face to face is seeing that little. It's really hard to know if I'm making eye contact. Okay, anyway. Clue Golden Girls Edition. I'm gonna play as Sophia every time, you know, because she had that stroke. She's got no filter. She can just say whatever she wants. I love it. I love that energy. All right, here we go. Shrink tear. Gotta love it. Right out of the gate, I do want to point out that everybody looks. This is like stylized art of the actresses. It doesn't quite. I mean, that's clearly Betty White, but they certainly look like themselves. But it looks very, very, very airbrushed. But I mean, that's okay. The color scheme, though. The color scheme. Does this not scream 1988? Oh my God! It looks. The game box looks like my grandparents' living room back when they lived in California. I know this takes place in Florida, but still, Florida. Okay. See if will Clue hold the other clue up, or will it be a domino effect of clues just going everywhere? Okay, there we are. There we are. Board. Got a rule book, full color print, full bleed, sealed paper, saddle stitched, same amount of pages as we get. Now we actually have, no, it's not actually pictures. That is a false Blanche. That is a false Sophia. That's when you airbrush things so much that you make the Golden Girls look AI. I mean, that's not going to ruin the game. Oh. All right. Oh, Chris. Oh, Chris. Oh, foil on the premium collector's editions. Huh, interesting. There's so many editions. There's so many editions of these classic games. That's kind of something that I really like about games when they're successful enough that they get to a certain point in their life, like Monopoly, the game of life. Heck, even Lupin Louie got a Star Wars version called Lupin Chewie. Now this I find this incredibly disappointing. This is the suspect movers are little punch out pieces, and this is not thick cardstock. This is getting laminated. Your boy's gonna take this out and get these laminated. Some nice thick stuff too. Make them nice and snappy. I'm scared to punch them out. Oh, did you see that? Oh, I don't like punching out stuff that's so thin. We're doing this though. If I make a mistake, I'm taking you with me. I mean, those are really low stakes on your end. Okay. Oh, I hate it. It's bending them in the wrong place. Gently, gently now, gently. There we go. Oh, and it's leaving little paper bits everywhere from the cut. It wasn't exactly the greatest cut. I gotta use another sheet off my lint roller here. There we go. But the art on the player movers is nice. They're called player movers. They're not pawns, not figurines, not meeples. They're player movers. That should have been my first sign something was wrong. I love the instructions. Gently punch out each character. Yes, gently now. Gently. We must be nothing if not gentle. What's the point of this clue? The plot of this clue? Did you miss that, Zach? The plot of the Golden Girls clue is to find who ate the last piece of cheesecake, a most heinous crime. Heinous, if you ask me. Okay, so there's supposed to be a corresponding colored base that fits. Oh, okay. We have a touch of redemption. Okay, we have a touch of redemption here. We have just a touch, a wisp, as it were, just a delicate whisper of redemption. So those of you who collect Pokemon's cards, I totally mispronounced that on purpose. I used to work at a GameStop. But you Pokemanies, or your other collectible cards, you'll oftentimes see people putting them in these clear plexis. Well, this came with clear plexis. So let's fold these over gently. All right, perhaps, as Thanos says, I judged the Golden Girls clue too harshly. All right, I am concerned about trying to push that in. Oh, okay. This requires a gentle touch. So I recommend that if you have somebody in your life who's a huge Golden Girls fan who might have actually seen the show when it first aired, they may need a hand putting this together if they don't have a deft touch. But we are doing this. We're doing this. Here we go. I'm okay with that. Okay, I was really annoyed at the really crappy grade cardstock. I thought that they were gonna take me for a ride here, but no. Sophia, true blue as always. I love that they chose blue for Sophia. Very nice. Who ate the last magic mushroom? That's the Alice in Wonderland version of Clue, which I'd be fine with getting. I'm just a little bit scared that something I eat or drink would make me the correct scale for the game. And if you're playing Clue and you end up on the board, that's a little scary. Could be anybody next. Got Betty White. Yeah, here we go, Mrs. White. If she was not Mrs. White, if they had Betty White as any other character than the white character color, that would have been the worst missed opportunity. Total trash, unplayable. Okay, I'm trying not to waste too much of the time in this unboxing, but this cannot stand. These character pieces need to be rated on an even footing. So if some assembly is required, we are nothing if not thorough. Blanche, my dear, there we go. I just gotta say, this is the tightest little number Blanche has put on. What a dish. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's these. Okay, now that we have the little pictures in here, the way that they're supposed to be, These remind me of those tiny little mini cutout frames you'd see all over the place. This actually seems timely for the era, oddly enough. I mean, I would have liked to have not had to assemble them. I mean, I'm always gonna complain when a game makes me do work right away, and I gotta punch things out, and I gotta paint them, or I gotta snap them together, glue them together. Labyrinth board game. I haven't played a Labyrinth board game. I do have a wooden Labyrinth game that is made of boards that I really love. That has a little ball bearing. Turn those dials. So Mr. 3D Print Wizard. My grandparents had one that I managed to find a very similar but cheaper reproduction of. I wish that I could get one out of the nice hardwood that they had, because that was awesome. Okay, so we got the board here. We haven't done the review. We do have a nice proper manila. Oh! Oh! Okay. I'm sorry. This might. All right. So this is interesting. This is only partially a custom-made envelope, and this is how I can tell. It's got a gummed edge. Under no circumstances play this with somebody who's a liability enough that you think they might lick the edge of this and seal it, because that means this is only good for one game. So in other words, that means that this is still a Hasbro joint. Yeah. Okay. So Hasbro just bought a huge allotment of actual craft paper card envelopes and then printed the Clue logo on them. So that's far from the worst trespass, but it's hilarious because you know good and darn well they got a good buy if they got them with gummed edges. Okay, so if the cost-saving measure is how they source, I'm still going to go ahead and say craft paper envelope. Craft paper, nice, or as the French say, envelope. Let's see, is the P silent? Little over the E. Got our stuff, got our pads. Okay, I'm going to set some of this stuff aside so I have space. The rule book's almost flying out at me. There we go. I'm getting too excited. All right, so we got our cards here. Now, these are the first set of Clue cards that I've opened today that do not have rounded corners. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. There we go. That was a nice cut. Okay, I put it here. I'm going to use it. The Magic 8 Ball will come in here eventually. Anybody got a question for the Magic 8 Ball? I'll ask it. Don't tempt me. I'll ask it. It's right there. It's within arm's reach. Okay, so the character cards are great because they have slogans. Oh, Miles says, a full moon makes me feel frisky. Let's stand. You always could slam a door. That's one of the things I love about you. Oh, Dorothy says, go to sleep, sweetheart, and pray for brains. That sounds like B. Arthur. Oh, and Rose here. As they say in St. Olaf, oh, Jesus. Okay, that's not what they say. I'm trying to just read. I'm going to attempt to read this out and enunciate this correctly. So, as they say in St. Olaf, Helgen bar Genfleur Genflurfennerfen. Helgen bar Genfleur I really, this is, I'm going to figure out how to say this. That's where I'm determined here. What does Blanche say? My beauty has always been a curse. And Sophia, have I given you any indication at all that I can? That sounds like Sophia. That's right. Oh, we have some interesting new. There's a whole bunch of cards that just say a dashing new man. Oh, what did they do? Is there a new rule set for this? They've got a get rich scheme, pizza, neighbor drama, shopping spree. Okay, so I think it's pretty clear that there are some alternate rules for this Golden Girls Clue. the cards are a little floppier than I'd like, and I don't like it when they don't round the edges of the cards, because when they don't round the edges of the cards, they tend to catch on stuff, or the corners, I'm sorry, round the corners. When they don't round the corners on these cards, they tend to catch on stuff and wear quicker. So that's a little bit of a, it's a little bit of a cheap out there, but they're still snappy enough. They should be fine. I actually might run these through, just because they're different. They're a bit more mini dimension. I've got that powered card shuffler that I love to test and see. We'll find out here. We'll find out. We'll see if it can handle it sometime. But the pad. Okay, so this beats out winning moves, but only by a little bit. There's better art on the pad. The print is much smaller, so I think it's kind of funny, because if you're going for a target audience of fans of Golden Girls, you may just want some larger print. But the quality of paper is good. This is easily a 24-pound bond gummed pad with a cardboard reinforced back. I want to point out the winning moves one didn't even have a cardboard reinforced back. So there we go. There we go. Might need to make some photocopies of this, but I can tell right away looking at this that you could easily put 4 per sheet on a standard 8.5 by 11. So not bad, not bad. Of course, it looked cheap if it was on an 8.5 by 11 by factory, right? Right? Magic 8 Ball. Why did Mr. Black get his name changed to Mr. Boddy? Okay, first off, it's Mr. Boddy got his last name added. So it was Mr. Boddy, B-O-D-D-Y, B-O-D-D-Y, that then became Mr. Boddy Black. And why, Magic 8 Ball, why did Mr. Boddy change his name? It is decidedly so. Well, that's just freaking obtuse. Come on, give me a better one. Magic 8 Ball, show the necessary respect. Magic 8 Ball, why did Mr. Boddy suddenly get a surname? It is certain. Jester, I don't think we're going to get a straight answer out of this guy. All right. Let's see what we got. So these aren't murder weapons. These are clues. These are clues that indicate that somebody did something. Again, okay, so the clues did not come in a resealable box, but I do want to point out this game has a relatively intricate looking caddy inside. And it's, I'm so used to these being cheap. Yeah. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Good value in the organizer. That was a prudent investment. Okay. So we're going to put our pad in there. We're going to put this here. We do have this little Ziploc bag that, okay, we'll see if everything, that was where the player pieces went, but it doesn't seem like it'll fit the cards, but maybe I can repurpose it for the clues. Ooh, get such a raging clue right now. I think we should follow it. Okay. So one of the clues is an easy chair. And boy, you know, it does have those rolled arms. This actually looks like it may be a wicker piece of lawn furniture. Now that I look at it, now that I look at the shape of the arms, it's got that kind of, yeah, this is not like a traditional recliner, I don't think. We have a folded up bathrobe. Looks like a little square, but that's a bathrobe. I assure you, that's a bathrobe. These are all, I also want to point out these are pewter, but these have been washed. Detail washed a little bit, dark washed, so that you get that nice antiquing, what they call that. We got a handbag here with a little bit, I'm going to have to sand that down because that is not part of the mold, but I do have a little bit of a piece of excess metal from the molding process. We have lipstick, which looks questionably like a bullet. It looks like a bullet casing to me, but lipstick. And we have a fuzzy slipper, a high-heeled shoe fuzzy slipper. That's clearly Blanche's. And whipped cream. We have some whipped cream. Oh, it looks funny because it's supposed to be some of it running down the side. There we go. So we've got Cool Whip. Well, no, Cool Whip comes in a tub, doesn't it? No, this is just whipped cream. I'm not saying it's weird. Why do you ask? Okay, craft paper. We got our dice. Now we have 2 dice. Again, 2 dice. This isn't zip. I thought this was zip. I feel so misled because I thought this was a zip seal bag. I'm gonna take a quick swiggy here before we open that up, just to drown my sorrows. Okay. Let's have a look here. Oh, nice weight. Nice weight. They are 6-sided with pips. Oh, we have another custom die. We have custom die. Now, this is interesting. Only one of them replaces the singular pip with a question mark. The other still has a singular pip. So, interesting. I wonder, I'm curious now. Some of these editions have 1, some of these editions have 2. I somehow only remember getting to roll 1 die when I played the 86 edition, but now, geez, I might need to track down one of the 86s. That was clearly a important here because Hasbro even sells a reproduction of it too. But we have 1 die that has question mark, little curiosity, and we have 1 that has regular pips. So, interesting. We have a custom die. I keep looking at this caddy going, okay, so where is everything supposed to fit? This is going to be interesting. They have it set up like all these different cards and everything. The rule set must be insane. But, you know, the caddy inside this box kind of reminds me of what Avalon Hill did for Hero Quest. You know, Hero Quest, that game was a lot of fun when I was playing the 89 edition with Mrs. Old Crappy Couch. The biggest drawback to running that game for her was that I had to arrange everything ahead of time. I had to arrange all the figurines and stuff on a little coffee table next to me and then constantly reach over and grab them. The Avalon Hill remake of Hero Quest, that features organizers, 2 of them, 2 organizer trays of similar quality to the plastic in this Golden Girls Clue, with sleeves and clear plastic covers. So, I mean, the full shebang that's right in that box. I cannot tell you how much easier it was to run a game with the modern Avalon Hill edition of Hero Quest, be it that I could just pull out all of my furniture and creature trays, set them right next to each other. It kept everything organized. Wonderful. Great job, Avalon Hill. Great job. All right, so we got our rules here. It's time. It's time for the it's time for the big reveal. Let's see. Let's see what the house in Florida looks like. Oh, are you seeing this? Are you loving this as much as I am? Because I'm loving this. I am this. I can see. I just was watching the show for reference, and this is so interestingly enough, this is really close. This is really close to how the set views things, but this is made into a square. The set would cut across like this a little bit, and we're missing the mini bar that's actually in the foreground towards the camera. But if you have to fit all the locations from the series on a map on a game board, this is a really nice adaptation. They do have, this almost seems mirrored now that I look at it, because if I recall, oh no, their patio is called a lanai or lanai, or it's that word again. It's that word that I don't, L-A-N-A-I. I need to improve my vocabulary because I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I got this video coming up and now I'm stressed out because I got to figure out a new word. You know how hard it is to find somebody who can pronounce a word on the internet? It's awful. You look up a video and you'll get some slow guy who goes, this word is spelled this way, and we are going to pronounce it. But before we do, let's study the root of the word. When I was a small child in Bulgaria, and it's like a 5-minute video of somebody speaking like they're on a quaalude, and you just can't figure it out why they just won't get to the point and say, this is how you say the word. Because I don't know, lanai, lanai, lanu, I don't know. Anybody in there want to weigh in? I'd ask you to, but it's only text. So now what am I going to do? This is awesome. I do really like this. The art is great. All the pastel colors. This looks so so much like the show. The choice of font is great. Looks like we see the handwriting. I'd have to double check. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh man. Okay. And where are all their starting positions? This is so much different than the other clue. The other clue will have players distributed around the outside of the board. I'm assuming that they're just supposed to be in their rooms or something, but the guys don't live here. So, interesting. Blanche has a green bedspread too. I noticed, which is kind of odd. The kitchen looks all right. Kitchen looks pretty darn close. Interesting little laundry nook that you almost never see in the show. Okay. Well, and there are secret passageways. Secret passage to Blanche's bedroom. Secret passage to Dorothy's bed. Ooh, the Gold Girls. They be getting stuff done. They got secret passageways in their bedrooms. Blanche. Okay. All right. Well, this would be a fun one to try out, but I got to learn a whole new rule set now. This is a lot to take in. Let's see here. Just for now, I have to figure out how this caddy works because there's so many little bits and bobs and places for everything to go, and some of it makes sense, and then none of it makes sense, but it all makes sense in a way that doesn't make sense. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Okay. There we go. Oh, it has that tight tolerance on the box too. When you close that down, it does that like the iPhone thing where it's like, you know what I mean, where the air is releasing. All right, so if any of you have been watching the show and you saw my past episode from like, I don't know, was it like a month, 2 months back, for Relic Nights, a couple months back, I had a guest star, Rowdy Roddy J Roddy Rod. He was at a game shop and he called me up when he saw this. So I really appreciate J Roddy Rod for looking out, and I just want to say thank you for being a friend. Okay, so let's see here. I'm trying to figure out which one of these would be the easiest to try to adapt into an online game setup, and I think the classic clue would probably be our best bet. So it's time to set these puppies aside. Try not to knock those down there. And let's see what we can do here. Let's see if we can figure this out. Yeah. You've used the secret passage in Blanche's room? You would, you dog. Well, if you ask, almost everybody has. Don't know why. All right, so we got the classic clue here. Got I'm going to refer to this as my paltry pad of clues. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how we're going to. Do we want to do like just? All right. Here we go. I think I've got a pretty good idea how we can play this out. Let me get some of these parts out here. Let me get this smorgasbord of weapons into the center frame here. It's all set up. I don't even think that I need this. You guys need this more than I need this. Okay, so I'm just gonna run this game. We're gonna see what we can do. We're not gonna be able to do like players. I feel like if I have you guys move this stuff out, that ain't gonna be fun. So we're going to do some classic deduction. I think that's how we can manage to play a game here and actually have it move around and have a little fun. So instead of rolling to get anybody there, what I think we're going to do is I'm going to shuffle up these cards. I am going to put away the 3 for the guilty party. Yes. Then I will hold the rest of the hand, and we're going to take turns guessing. You know what? That's interesting. I don't know who all the extra characters are. That's all going to be. That'll have to be part of my homework for the episode there. believe it or not, I don't just walk around with all this knowledge of all these board games kicking around in here. I'd explode. But just because I like to be thorough when I'm reviewing them, I take a little time and review stuff, but that's research stuff. But that's that's why I have all those fun little mistakes that everybody likes to correct. And honestly, corrections are engagement, and everybody likes to be right once in a while, don't you? I like to be right once in a while. It happens. Broken clock twice a day. Mm. Ooh. Now this is interesting. I have a little nook right here that is not taken up by a player, nor is it indicated that a player should be here. So the missing Mr. Boddy spot? Not sure. Okay. Ah! Oh no, I saw those locations. What am I? How do I keep a fair game here? Somebody's just having a coronary watching me try to shuffle this stuff. These are very small decks, though. This is where having a nice auto shuffler would help. Okay. So, there we go. There we go. Now we are ready to play our game. I've got my people right here. Okay. Got my locations. Now, to keep the game from going off the rails way too quickly here, I will only show a maximum of 2 clues for each accusation until somebody thinks they've deduced it. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. If somebody would like to indicate which character in which room with which window or weapon window. Geez, are there windows in the rooms? Let's see here. So I'm going to go with the first guess, and we'll find out how close you are. Everybody watching, you take notes and see if you can deduce who the guilty party is. So who wants to go first? I have that cooldown in chat, too. It was Colonel Mustard in the billiard room with the pistol. All right, so we have Colonel Mustard in the billiard room with the pistol. Well, one of those isn't right. All right, so those watching at home, Colonel Mustard and the billiard room. I have those in my hand. So Colonel Mustard and the billiard room are incorrect. All right. Who's got another one? You with the underwear in the dining room? I believe it. Put them in a blender and drink them, right? Yeah, I've heard that before. Who's got another accusation? Who wants to point the finger of blame? Miss Scarlet, the kitchen with the rope. Here we go. Miss Scarlet, the kitchen with the rope. Unnecessary rolling. All right, so we're going to start with the other side here. All right, for those playing at home, the kitchen and the rope are not it. The kitchen and the rope are not it. All right, who's got another guess here? We're getting there. We're getting there. I like this only reveal 2, even if I have 3 thing to kind of keep things guessing. It makes the note-taking much more interesting. Now remember, our weapons, we've got 6 weapons. We've got the pistol, the rope, the wrench, the pipe, the knife, and the candlestick. All the originals. I would superimpose the little thing on the screen so that you can see the thing, but I can't. I don't have a tech person. It's just me. I've got a laptop here and a Magic 8 Ball. Am I doing a good enough job with this one? It actually said yes, definitely. Look at that. All right, so Mrs. White with the pipe in the billiard room. Okay. Billiard room, white, pipe. Let's see here. I believe we already revealed the billiard room. Mrs. White and the lead pipe are not it. Mrs. White and the lead pipe are not it. Now, discarding ones that I've already said, we're going to add this layer of difficulty. I shouldn't have even said that I believe the billiard room's been shown. I might have poisoned everything. I could have ruined the whole game. We're getting there. We're getting there. What have we got for other accusations? Who's suspicious? Who believes they can find out what's going on? Are we going to solve this one? My reply is no. Oh no, the Magic 8 Ball does not believe that the collective power of YouTube can solve who killed Mr. Boddy. Can we prove the Magic 8 Ball wrong? I actually saw there's a Magic 8 Ball board game that I wanted to do a review on that looks really fun. It looks very similar to Keys to the Kingdom. Mrs. Couch, poison in the tacos in the bathroom. Ooh, that's happened once, but you know, I survived. Any guesses? I'm not seeing any guesses. I might have to come up with one myself, except for I'm playing this opposite side here. I know somebody's cooking. I know somebody's cooking. Are you the only human left in chat? Yeah. Is Mr. 3D Print Wizard the only human in chat? Are there bots? Are you botting? I knew it. I knew there was somebody else in here. They're all just deliberating, Mr. 3D Print. They're all just deliberating. They're staring at their screens doing this. We all know this. Mr. Green with the revolver in the kitchen. I'm in a Final Fantasy 14 Dungeon Nights. Mr. Green with the revolver in the kitchen. All right. Mr. Green, kitchen. I mean, we have a... All right, there we go. That'll work. Okay. Mr. Green and the pistol are not it. Mr. Green and the pistol are not it. We're multitasking, huh? What do we got for other guesses? I'm counting on you, Chris. I think you might be the one that can solve this one here. Against all odds. Well, not all of them. Some of them. Maybe. There's 5 people, so it is an odd number. And you're against them. Only got 6 rooms left in my hand. Oh no. Oh no. I think. There we go. Oh, you're on Valheim? All right, I'm gonna throw out a free clue here. So let's see here. The knife, the ballroom, and Mrs. Peacock. There's a free one for y'all. She ain't it. They ain't it. There we go. Oh, Peacock Candlestick Study. Well, we know Peacock's not there. We know Peacock's not there from that one. I don't have anything anymore in my hand for that. We saw Peacock. There's still a few cards in play, but do you want to make an accusation? We're getting close. If you guys manage to solve crimes while you're also playing video games, you'll be the ultimate multitaskers. See, I'm still saying the lithography on this is really messed up. Final guess. Candlestick, study, scarlet. Oh, you want to go for it? You want to go for it? Okay, okay. I'm going to take this accusation here. I'm going to take this because it's going slow here. Close. We got the candlestick. We have the study. But our villain was Professor Plum. This purple son of a gun did it. He murdered Mr. Boddy. It was Plum. It was always Plum. It is always Plum, isn't it? It is, isn't it? See, this is okay. I think if we had a bit more of a packed chat, that would probably run Clue a little better. Candyland was a pretty solid one there. Should have been Grape. I'm not entirely against that. However, I feel like if he was like a vineyard owner or something, I like it when they have backstories. And the 2023 does have backstories written for all of the characters. So again, that's going to be kind of part of that research there before I do the full review for this. So that was fun. I could see doing a Clue live game. That would be fun. Darn it, Emmett. Is Professor Plum's name Emmett, or are you just? We're just making this up now as we go along. I will say this. Okay, so one thing that I do appreciate from the Winning Moves edition is the art is really solid. I like the art on the cards. The cards are pretty solid. They're very snappy. You get sort of like a craft paper envelope without a gummed edge. I really like the weapons, albeit the pistol is ridiculous when compared to the other weapons. And I would like to know how similar any of this is to what the original castings were. But overall, gameplay-wise, we're going with the classic rules. And I'm already seeing that in the other two editions I opened, there's extra rules. In the version that I had from, 2008, there were extra rules. So at some point in the history of Clue, they began adding all kinds of rules to spice stuff up. And I don't think that it needs it. I don't think Clue really needs a whole lot of extra spice. For instance, this little run that we did here, just playing with chat, just a very limited gameplay that we had. Again, it just runs easier when you don't overcomplicate stuff. But I'm hoping maybe the Golden Girls one has some interesting stuff with their extra rule sets, because seeing like a new young man or a handsome young man cards had me just dying. So I want to know, after having watched some of the show, I'm really curious to know what effect that's going to have on the characters. Like, are we just supposed to expect that at some point that distracts a character or something like that? I want to know how those rules affect. And also, I will be interested to see how the map structure changes the game, because there were no starting points for anybody. So they said that they were all gathered in the living room in the explanation on the back of the box. So I'm getting the feeling that you start out with everybody kind of like right in the middle and work your way out. So it might not even be character specific, which is kind of interesting, because you look at the older Clues, some of the characters start in positions where they have definite advantages. Colonel Mustard can get to the kitchen faster than anybody else due to secret passageways. If I remember right, I think Miss Scarlet has a one space advantage to getting into a room first. So there are some balance issues to take into account with the original Clue board. And when you have variations, like for instance, the Miami house from Golden Girls with a complete rework of how the board is put together, and obviously where the characters start, that could be a completely different spice on the game that might end up being a winning combination. So this is going to be a really interesting. There was one murder mystery in Golden Girls. Well, now I have to watch the whole series and find it, unless one of you knows the episode right offhand. But actually, no spoilers. No spoilers. I'm on episode 3 right now on my rewatch. Okay, I saw it was on Hulu, and so we're going with it. We'll get there. We'll get there. I actually thought the writing held up Because when you go and watch a lot of modern television shows, the way they're shot, the way they're edited, um, they're awfully quippy, but sometimes you lose a bit of the actual brevity of the show. There's a certain amount of letting your jokes breathe, letting the chemistry between the characters go. What is funny is when you can tell that they're setting up for a joke because somebody says something that doesn't quite fit, that's a complete setup. But you know what? That's kind of one of the fun aspects of watching older TV is some of those different writing styles that I do enjoy. So definitely go back and check out Golden Girls. But we have now opened up our Winning Moves 1949 edition, our Hasbro 2023 edition, which I got to say, I actually am quite impressed with the art and the figurines in this edition, and the gold weapons. That was really cool. And then, of course, the Golden Girls. I wish that we had more player pads for this one because this one has unique characters. So having fewer pages in the clue pads, that's a little frustrating because you can't just go download another one there. But size-wise, they'd be easy to replicate. So not the end of the world there. Not the end of the world there. I don't know, Magic 8 Ball, I'm thinking this is a good stopping point. What do you think? As I see it, yes. Oh, it's nice to be agreed with once in a while. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I had a lot of fun opening these up. I haven't done a live in a long time, and I was wanting to do one sooner, but I don't know if you followed my posts with that extra moisture in the basement. It sort of set me back a little bit this month, and I've been relying on my archive of pre-recorded stuff, but I've got everything cleaned up. The games are safe. I got silica packets and everything to keep the moisture out, so production's going to go right back up, and we're going to have a lot more fun. I can't wait to hop into the Clue episode. Clearly, I got a lot of research to go. So thanks again for joining me. We'll see you next time.